part of the Diversity and Culture Festival for the last several years. This is the very first time that they have done so in a Zoom call, in a webinar. My name is Steve Turner, and it is my great pleasure to talk about Project R as a campaign for discouraging the use of the R word so that people with disabilities may be empowered and recognized as individuals with qualities and abilities who offer value and significance to our community. Project R is an initiative encouraging people to rethink, reconsider their use of that R word in their everyday dialect. We expect to promote respect in all cultures. That's what the Diversity and Culture Festival is all about. So I'd like to throw it to my good friend, Robert Garcia, who's going to start this campaign. Thank you so much, Robert. Welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Steve. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. We are here today representing the ARC of Ventura County. The ARC is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the quality of life for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have self-advocates here from all over Ventura County today as part of our anti-bullying and inclusion campaign, which is Project R. I will introduce to you, excuse me. I will introduce you to our panelists today. All right, please wave when I say your name. All right. All right, so the people are here today is Lupe, Vanessa, Tina, Matt, Ryan, and Ashley. I am Robert, and we have some of our support staff here as well. Before they each speak, I'd like to tell you about our agency. The ARC of Ventura County was established in 1954, and we support over 700 individuals in a variety of programs throughout Ventura County. We are committed to empowering the individuals we support by offering opportunities that lead to greater independence and self-determined lives. Advocating for these things and for the rights of people with IDD is the mission of the ARC and why we are here today. Project R is about rethinking the way that you treat people with disabilities. As I said, my name is Robert. I have been with the ARC for 6 years. I enjoy watching football. Go Raiders. I also enjoy watching WWE and listening to heavy metal. All right. The ARC has empowered me in many ways. One example is I am the host of a class called GMA, which stands for Good Morning ARC. I am on daily. I take great pride in this accomplishment. My next goal is to begin ARC training to live on my own. I'll keep you posted on how that goes. All right. Now, with that being said, so our first speaker today will be Lupe. So Lupe, whenever you're ready, take it away.
And I forgot a little housekeeping, Robert. Great welcoming. I wanted just to add all the attendees. If you want the live transcription, there's a button on the bottom of your screen on your Zoom channel where you can get the live transcription. I apologize for neglecting to say that. Fantastic, welcoming. You talked about IDD, that's intellectual or developmental disabilities for those that are in the audience. Okay, Lupe, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Please go ahead.
It's okay, Mr. Turner. Hello, everyone. My name is Lupe. I want to share something about something I learned in high school. Back then, I was told I couldn't do nothing, and I believed it. I wanted to be on a basketball team, but I was told that special ed weren't allowed. I spent so many years focusing on the things I couldn't do and the things I couldn't be a part of. It felt bad to be excluded, and it made me feel down all the time. I felt also like I couldn't speak up for myself. I was really shy and had a hard time letting people know how I feel about things. I didn't want to make anyone mad. When I graduated from post secondary, I was introduced to the ARC by my teacher. At ARC, it feels like I'm not left behind anymore. I like it because everyone includes each other. My first year at ARC, I was chosen to go to a national conference in Florida for 1 week. I got to go to Epcot Center and a pool party and even meet people from a TV show Born This Way. I also went to classes at the conference that taught me how to advocate for myself. Finding my voice was important to me because I didn't have to feel sad and taken advantage of anymore. I was always so worried about being mean that I didn't speak up for myself, even when it hurt me. Learning how to advocate meant that I finally feel respect. Now I don't feel excluded all the time. I play Special Olympics basketball where I get to be a part of a team, and here's my medal. And before the pandemic started, I didn't know how to use Zoom. During the pandemic, I learned how to use Zoom, and I'm a co host on a class called Good Morning Arc that Robert and I run every day. At first, it was pretty hard to learn. Now it's easy for me. I also helped the staff run a cooking class. Zoom has become another way for me to express myself. Thank you for your time. Inclusion is important because every time we are told that we couldn't participate, it makes us feel down. We aren't really as different from all of you as you think we are. Sometimes we just need a little more help. We have a lot to offer, and I think people miss out by not being friends with us. Sometimes we are different on the outside, but we are really nice people. We know what it feels like to struggles because we are different and it makes us really good friends. The next time you hear someone telling a person that you can't do something just because they are different, speak up. If you're different yourself, remember that your difference make you special and you are worthy, no matter what people said. Finding people that accepts you for who you are makes all the difference. The next person I'm going to introduce is Vanessa.
Thank you, Lupe. Hi, my name is Vanessa. I'm 30 years old. I have lived in Ventura all my life. I have been with the ARC for 8 years. I love to sing, and when I was attending Buena, I joined the choir. I was a part of a group that made me feel like I had a purpose. I belong and most happy. The ARC had The ARC is my second home to me. The ARC has given me opportunities to learn life skills, make friends, feel stronger, and be more confident with who I am. I feel like I belong here. I have a job, and the job I still have make me feel important and confident and put some money in my pocket. I have applied to go to a program called Training for Independent Living. I hope to learn all the skills I need to live on my own. Once a week, I run a sports club class on Zoom every Friday. Our advocacy team and I to get the sidewalk cut out to put in for an apartment complex to the park across the street where wheelchairs, walkers, and strollers, we did it. I have a quote I like to say, and it is, "You don't know me until you get to know me." If you want to be my brothers and sisters, new friends are always welcome. Thank you. And who is it that I'm going to be introducing?
Tina.
Tina. Back to you, Tina. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Before I start my speech, I would like to talk about the person reading the speech. So here it goes. My name is Christina Sanchez. I attend the ARC of Ventura County, Ohio Enrichment Center in Ohio, California. I have been with the ARC of Ventura County for 25 years. I still remember the first day I walked into the ARC program on Transport Street. I was nervous, scared, and had a ton of emotions all wrapped in one. Meeting new people and having a new routine was scary. It did not take long for me to settle in, and within a year, I had an amazing job at Blockbuster. I worked there for several years before they closed, and I loved that job. This quote is meaningful to me and reminds me of my first day walking into the ARC program. Once I got there, I didn't feel lost anymore. Advocacy is an important, extreme part of my life. I am able to communicate and get my point across. People listen and take me seriously. Having an opportunity to come and speak my mind, voice concerns I have, and be heard. It makes me aware and it makes me want to do something about it. I want to help. Advocacy gives people a voice. It gives people a purpose. It gives people the hope to be an active person in their community and make informed choices. Disability rights are human rights. Challenging beliefs. At one time in my life, I was told I could never get a job. When I heard these words, I was hurt for as long as I could remember. I have always wanted to work, to have my own money and contribute to my community. I was determined after that. When you tell someone with a disability that they cannot do something, it only makes them more determined. Shortly after that, I began working at Blockbuster and was there for almost 20 years. Developing plans, creating a meaningful life. Being involved in advocacy makes me feel good because I can give people with disabilities a voice that they may not normally have. Our advocacy meetings typically involve developing plans around improving the lives of people with disabilities. Changing perceptions. Don't think we don't think. One of the common misconceptions is that people with disabilities can't think for themselves. That is far from the truth. We think, in fact, we think a lot. And if people took the time to listen, they would hear some pretty good opinions. Being leaders and expressing ourselves. Being a leader for someone with a disability means you are someone that will listen, stand up for what is right, and someone who will set an example. Coming to the Ohio Enrichment Center, seeing my friends, seeing the staff, and becoming the best version of me is what I want for all of my friends. Defying the odds. Given the right supports, we can do things we never dreamed possible. When you see the able and not the label, it can open your eyes to a whole new level of possibilities. They are endless. My friend Danny got to go to the beach because someone that cared invented a wheelchair that can roll on the sand. The chair provided inclusion that Danny had never been able to experience before. Expressing our needs. My family, coming to a program, my friends, and the beach are things that I need to be happy. Making decisions about what I get to do each and every day with my staff allows me to feel in charge of my own life. Improving ourselves. Advocating for opportunities that will improve the lives of people with disabilities is something that I feel strongly about. Learning, loving, and believing. People with disabilities can love and they can build lasting relationships. We are just like everyone else. We want to be independent. We want loving relationships. We want to be loved and be loved. I believe in this program and what it does for people with disabilities. No one judges you, and with determination and help from staff, believing you could reach your goals and dreams becomes a reality. When I look at this photo, I see people that are important to me. I admire these people. They are part of my life, and they are here when I am happy, and they are here when I am sad. I care about these people, and so I advocate for them when they need me to. Thank you. And the next person I'd like to introduce is Ryan.
Thank you, Tina. Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan, and I'm a member of the ARC of Ventura County on Cochran Street in Simi Valley. and I'm here to share my experiences of how the R word has affected me and my life growing up. Now, trust me, this was not an easy road for me. Now, I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy, or CP. Now, for those of you that don't know what CP is, that is a combination of disorders that primarily affects the brain and the muscles. My story begins when I was first born. Doctors had said to my parents that they weren't even sure if I was going to be able to walk or talk or do any of the same stuff that you guys all enjoy right now. Obviously, with me being here today, I've beaten those odds and I have proved them wrong. Now, when I started attending high school at Simi Valley High School, many of the students would use the R word. Now, was I ever called the R word? No, but they would say things in passing term as if to say like, oh, wasn't that movie so R? Or, oh man, how R was that? And really the first thing that came to my mind at that point was doubt. I started to question myself and my abilities. I started to wonder if I really belong in this world, if I belong in this society. Am I a smart or normal person? Am I gonna fit in like the rest of the students? I am no different than any one of you. Now, I've been with the ARC of Ventura County for almost 10 years. I served as a member of the ARC of Ventura County Board of Directors and currently serve on the Co-Advocates Leadership Committee. My spare time for hobbies include watching and playing sports and listening to country music. My favorite sports teams are the LA Kings, Angels, Dodgers, Lakers, LA Rams, and UCLA Bruins. I participate in basketball, softball, and bowling for Special Olympics. And I'm an uncle to two wonderful children in my life. I have an 8-year-old niece named Madison and a 6-year-old nephew named Carter, and I love them dearly. In the past several years, we have participated in several Project R and advocacy events. We've been to conferences, town hall meetings, and rallies. We've also written letters, made phone calls, sent emails, talked to legislative offices, and presented Project R presentations. We've created real change, such as adding cutouts to sidewalks so that intersections are more accessible for people with disabilities. And we were recognized by the City Council with a proclamation by City Councilwoman Ruth Lebanos. We also advocated for an increase in our budget, and we got it. In the future, we might even get more funding for our program. We hope to give more Project R presentations to show that the R word is not just a word. It is a reflection of a larger society that discriminates against people with disabilities. Our group and the advocacy group in the ARC is constantly working to be more inclusive and encouraging other people to be more inclusive by be more inclusive be more inclusive by having lunch with us, by having lunch with people with disabilities, talking with us. Sorry, guys. Showing us around, being friendly, and treating us like everyone else. Thank you for listening to my story. Now here's Matthew.
Hi, I'm Matthew Williams. I am 33 years old. I was born with Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a genetic chromosome 21 disorder causing developmental and intercultural delays. Down syndrome is a genetic disorder caused when abnormal cell division makes an extra copy of chromosome 21. So instead of the normal 23 sets of chromosomes, I have one extra one. This is important. I don't like the R word. It hurt. No, I'm sorry. R word. And people used to call me the music boy, and I didn't like it. It hurt my feelings. I'm a Catholic person. Stop abuse to all nations. Stop calling people the R word. It hurts our country. I am a member of the Action Club. Thank you. God bless you and salute. Now here's Ashley.
My name is Ashley and I'm 24 years old and I have autism. I was born with mild CP and spent the first days of my life in the NICU. I had a 1 hour long seizure when I was 2 years old. I took anti-seizure medication for epilepsy for many years. School is challenging for me. I have attentional issues and a hard time making friends. I learn differently. Sometimes I take longer to learn and even forget what I have already learned. The R word affects me because I have a disability myself. In this world today, people treat people like me differently simply because I have a disability. By saying this, I would like to be included and not left out. I do not want to be called the R word. When I hear someone call me or my friends the R word, it makes me feel sad and upset. When I was in middle school and high school, I was called the R word. In those moments, I felt left out and excluded. I felt stupid. I was treated differently. Thanks for listening to my story. Now next is Aaliyah.
What Ashley has described to you is her experience being discriminated against as a person with a disability. After Professor Abram berated a student who was hard of hearing at Oxnard College, I decided that we needed to share the experiences of other students so people know that this is not an isolated incident. Last year, around Christmas time, I started a podcast called Radio See Me. At Radio See Me, we interview new people every episode, including elected officials, community leaders, business people, etc. And for episode 9, Ashley joined us and she interviewed elected official and College Board trustee Bernardo Perez, as well as the College Board chancellor. In episode 9, Ashley asked them questions about what they're doing to help people with disabilities on college campuses in Ventura County. It is our most successful episode so far, beating out episodes with the chief of police and a city councilwoman in Simi Valley with almost 300 downloads. Here's a clip of what was said. Oops. I just realized that when you share, you have to click like share computer sound as well. Sorry, I'll do that.
Thank you. My next question is there any diversity education for general ed students to be more inclusionary, aware of their implicit biases, and more accepting of students with disabilities? I have been in classes where other students don't want to work with me because they can tell I am different. This makes me feel sad and upset. No person should have to feel this way for trying to better themselves. This happened as recently as Tuesday. I was doing work in a breakout room with a group of students. I have a hard time verbalizing what I want to say, and this is a foreign language class, so it is even harder for me to speak. Another student said that it is awkward to have a student in here that doesn't talk that much and just look at the screen and do work on the paper. there was another student like me who left the breakout room right before this, she might have been uncomfortable too.
So Ashley, again, thank you for sharing your personal experience. And let me begin my response in a general nature. And, you know, everyone having to operate under the pandemic conditions has been very challenging. And those challenges have exposed issues and problems that may have always been there, but are now more pronounced, such as what you've just described about your experience. And the challenge for each of us is to, as you mentioned, recognize any implicit bias that we ourselves hold, and deal with that in a more positive way. The example you cited, it seemed, was coming from the students also. And because you mentioned some students, you know, had some issues that they perceived working with you. And I don't know if we've historically addressed our implicit bias training to the students, or if it's in the curriculum, but we do have training, or I know it's available. In fact, even faculty, the academic senates, and the volunteers that come up with the programs for those two Flex Week situations that the chancellor mentioned have included training or workshops on implicit bias. And as the chancellor also mentioned, I'm sure this has been and it's a growing focus of attention nationally even. So if it has not been, I'm sure it will be part of professional development series moving forward. So I don't want to overreach my role, so I'll turn it over now and let the chancellor speak again, like I said, more directly regarding the activities on campus.
I'll put the link to the full episode in the chat. And there are closed captions available. Thank you. Now we're going to be moving on to Q&A. So does anybody have any questions? You can put them in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand.
Mr. Turner, I'm not sure if how the Q&A works. I didn't ask that question.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was just peeking at the chat too. Again, my name is Steve Turner. I am faculty member at Ventura College. I just think this is a good opportunity to just acknowledge the staff support that helped facilitate such an important equity, inclusion, diversity component to what we are trying to do in our community. This partnership that Ventura College and the ARC of Ventura County has been going for decades. I got to just say, I was thinking back to my time, and I feel like this is really important. I just want to give a quick shout out to the staff, especially to Eric Rodriguez, who kind of took point on pulling this together. I don't know if you guys in the audience are remembering, but we have people, citizens, students from all over the county, from East County, from Ojai, from Ventura, et cetera. So Eric, can you just say a couple words, and I'm going to pull up a couple questions while you're doing that.
Sure. I thank you for that, Steve. I appreciate it. You know, it's my work to support the folks who receive services through the ARC, and you know, it's always my intention to move in the background as much as possible, give support for people to have their own, you know, their own voice. And so, and everyone got a good a view of that today. There's a couple of things that I'd like to just sort of plug. I would say that we have two thrift stores, one in Ventura and one in Oxnard. The ARC Foundation exists solely to generate funds for the support of our agency. So we literally, you know, we're a nonprofit organization. We literally run a little bit of a deficit every year trying to, you know, run our services. And those donations that go to the ARC Foundation thrift store actually helps us get to zero every year. So we very much appreciate people donating to that. And in addition to that, I'd like to, the ARC of Ventura County has an Instagram page and a Twitter page. And so if people want to go try to look that up and follow and see what we're up to, we appreciate that. There are also the ARC of California and the ARC of the United States have advocacy pages, how to get involved. And I know, you know, oftentimes college students really want to know, what can I do? One of the ways that you can look to see what ways you can get involved in advocacy are by looking at those pages: the ARC of Ventura County, the ARC of the United States, and the ARC of California. So go to one of those places to find that information, and I'll be quiet and see if we have any questions.
Well, great. Thank you for the shameless plug. I definitely love the ARC. Been an employee actually in my past life. So David Carlander, English professor at Ventura College, wants to know from the panelists, as teachers, what can we do to support you? And we kind of have an idea, but give us some specifics. What can we do to support you as teachers? Anybody want to take that one on? Can I call on Ashley, just because I have never met you before and I'd like to hear from you? Ashley, what can we do to support you?
To just feel accepted in the college classes.
Yeah. So acceptance, meaning that cultivating a safe, healthy learning environment from day one as a teacher, that would help, is what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of modeling, it sounds like, could have taken place in that scenario that was on the podcast that Aaliyah was sharing. And so, Aaliyah, can I ask you the same question?
Sure. So as Ashley mentioned, I think that it has mostly to do with building a culture of support that, you know, relies heavily on like love and trust and inclusion of people with disabilities. We have a few videos on our YouTube, and in a few minutes, I'll share the link to the ARC of Ventura County YouTube in the chat as well, so you guys can see some of the previous ARC presentations on there as well. I know that we have an upcoming video that we're going to be sharing with a lot of the people in the presentation today. That's going to be telling you like similar stories that you've already heard. But when it comes back down to like professors being supportive of students, I think that being proactive is really important, because a lot of times professors like rely upon students to come to them when they're having issues, when I think that professors really should be reaching out, simply because, you know, some of those students might not have like the capacity at that point in time to reach out to their professors to ask for help. I know that I have a disability approved through my university, and a struggle is always like not being able to, you know, email my professors and ask for help when I need it, because that's not that point in time where I'm healthy enough to be able to ask for help. So I think that if professors were more proactive in their efforts to make sure that they're being accommodating of all of their students, then I think that that would help contribute to the culture that would support students with disabilities. Great,
that's an awesome point. So you're talking about almost like a bridge to feeling like you can belong on the campus, a hand, as opposed to having to track down that teacher and advocate. It's just a real simple thing, but it's an important piece just to allow that connection to happen.
If I might add something else too,
Please, feel free.
there are a lot of structural like things that make it barriers. There are a lot of structural barriers and obstacles to people with disabilities that makes it difficult for them to succeed in a classroom. So like as terms of like, being proactive, if professors could like, do some quick Googling research to see how they can best go, before any student comes to them, before they even get a notification that they have a student with a disability in their class. Sometimes a lot of students haven't even been diagnosed yet. They might not even know they have a disability. So they might not even been approved by the university yet. So if you can go out of your way to try and, crush those barriers as much as you possibly can, then you're accommodating not just the students with disabilities, but every student that's in the classroom that might be struggling because of that, system of oppression that's been already set up. And so, for example, one thing just off the top of my head, required attendance, like that is ableist in nature because it makes it difficult for students who don't have the capacity to be able to show up every day. It reduces their grade and it makes it more difficult for them to succeed compared to students who don't have disabilities and who have the health to be able to just show up to class, every single day. So those are just like some examples of how, if you can go out of your way to make sure you're accommodating people with disabilities, then I think that you're going to find that more students in your class are going to be successful, disability or not.
Oh, I love that. I think you're talking about universal design of learning, where everybody has an open door to get their learning style met where they are. Hannah Faith, a good friend from Fillmore, she obviously gave everybody a big shout out and good job, but she would like to know, what's your favorite ice cream flavor, everyone? So let's really quickly go around and just for fun and just shout out your favorite ice cream flavor. She is that kind of teacher. She's amazing over in Fillmore High School. Go ahead, Vanessa. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Neapolitan.
Okay, good.
That's all three.
How about you, Robert?
Well, yeah, I did answer to someone, and yeah, it's vanilla.
Okay, good. Wonderful, wonderful. Anybody else? Oh, Patty went. Who wants to be back on campus in the fall? Who's a little bit nervous to be back? Are you excited and ready to attend classes in person? Anybody want to speak to that? Actually, I'd like to know some particulars. That's a real important. Patty's the coordinator of the Educational Assistance Center at Ventura College, for those in the audience that don't know. And so what that entity does, that resource on campus, is that provides accommodations for students with disabilities, kind of like what Aaliyah was speaking about. So she and the counselors can sit down with you and help you with accommodations, but we really do want to know what's happening in your mind as far as, are you getting ready to do that? So I'm curious if anybody has some anxiety about coming back on campus in the fall. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like.
I'm excited and a little nervous about going to to Ventura College, because I think it's a little bit better for me to learn like at Ventura College instead of on the computer at my house. It's a little difficult. I several times had to call up Steve and ask him for a little help for the class. And I made my mom a lot of help. Thank you, Steve. Back to you.
Yeah. Anybody else want to speak to that? Lupe, I'm curious. You're thinking of coming back in the fall. Lupe, are you a little nervous about coming back in the fall?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm afraid of this whole thing going on right now. Yeah. And also at the same time, I do want to go back because I'm struggling in online classes.
It's a completely different way to learn. I use the term digital divide. It's not just the technology, it's the support, and it's the space and the time management. And so I agree with you, Lupe, but just so you're clear, and everybody on the call, Ventura College, the entire district, and I know any college or school that is opening up is taking all recommended measures to make sure that it's a safe and healthy environment with PPE, social distancing, sanitizing and all that kind of stuff. So kind of keep that in mind as you're going through. Lots of love in the room. Jose Maldonado, who teaches English over to Oxnard College, just said, great job, everybody. Fantastic job. And Lisa Marie also said the same thing. Dolores Ortiz, Jessica, I'm just trying to scroll through these. I really appreciate the community involvement. It does take a village. I feel like social justice has to include people with different abilities. And I think just this whole idea of inclusion, equity, diversity absolutely needs to include Project R in this discussion. So I'm glad there's a podcast. I'm glad there's lots of advocacy going on. It's just really important to make sure that we continue this conversation. And I love the fact that David Carlander just wanted to give a little shout out to Aaliyah. It's our job to be proactive and reach out instead of waiting for folks to come to us. And so David's an English instructor. It's really hard with this Canvas distance education stuff on Zoom to size up a room, to be able to realize that there might be a student struggling or they might be at a job. We don't know as well. So it's really important to use our tools. We have a thing called Starfish. We have our early alert. We got retention things going on. But the fact is, it's just not the same in this climate of distance education. So I feel like while we'll still have some hybrid things going on and there'll still be plenty of things online because it serves a purpose, it'll be nice to be able to see you guys and understand, and you'll be able to approach on your end and we'll be able to approach on our end as instructors. So
Steve, just wanted to highlight that there's someone who has a hand up.
Okay, let me see.
George,
thank you so much. And I see Vanessa going there. George, do you want to ask your question? Unmute yourself, please. Thanks, Peter. Is it my George? I think it is my George. Of course it is. How are you?
Yes, good.
Good.
And if I tell you guys, the Oxford, you have all the watching movies and watching the show.
Yeah.
Because I like to like go out and in school and you can play the bowling or basketball and have a barbecue there. It's good. And if you have a team, my arc and people and send it and you have a cookie class and you have a cake or you have maybe a Lego as well because we have and we have what you poorly. We watch movies. And you
movies and bowling.
I go to walk.
That's awesome.
And you go to on the mall. You have on the mall. You have we have a bundle, please.
Yeah.
Why are you going to do it? Why you want to here?
Thanks, George. Yeah, George. George is one of my students, and George, I want to give you a shout out. You're missing all kinds of activities. I know being under lockdown, but I know you're a basketball player, you're a bowler, you like going to the movies. We're going to open up slowly and safely as a community. So it's really important that we do that in the right way. I see some panelist hands, and George, thanks for that clarification, and I really appreciate it. Let me go Vanessa and then to Lupe. Okay, Vanessa, what do you have to share? And guys, just so you know, we're going to run out of time in 6 minutes.
I want to add that Steve Turner taught me how to do the Starfall. It's where I can learn how to better myself, to learn how to read. And is there any class that's going to be coming up during the future about having a bowling class at Ventura College again?
Not yet, but you never know. I think George would be in that one too. I love the idea of having enrichment and having electives and having lots of different ways to go and enhance ourselves. But I don't have a bowling class currently through curriculum committee, but you know, who knows?
Okay,
Thank you.
Keith.
Lupe, let me go to you before we run out of time.
I was just gonna tell you guys that George is in our program too.
Yep, I'm a big fan of George and Sandra and all the folks that are so diverse. Can I give a quick shout out to Tina? I have never met Tina. You're up in Ojai. Tina, your speech was really touching to me.
Thank you.
Because I miss Blockbuster also. But I just remember that whole process of picking out a video. So no, but in all seriousness, the fact that you had to advocate for yourself and you had a real touching presentation. I wanted to ask a question to you, if I could, please.
That's
if you, yeah, because you're up in Ojai,
Uh-huh.
and I know I have friends in Fillmore and I have friends over in East County. If you could develop a program that would supplement the enrichment program at ARC, what would that look like to you?
First of all, I'd want to get everybody involved. Like I would ask their opinions, like what they would want in it, what they would want to go into it.
Okay, absolutely. The stakeholders would have to be the participants, absolutely. But I'm just asking you, what would that look like for you? Because you've been around a while.
Yeah, I would want to get like different people involved, like from Fillmore.
No, I'm talking about in Ojai. If we were going to enhance a program for Ojai, out of Ventura College, what would that look like?
What are you mainly talking about?
Well, I'm talking about if Ventura College could do something to help the people in Ojai a little bit in enhancing their lives, what would that look like for you?
For our participants here in Ohio. Like to offer programs that could help them.
Yeah. What would you think that needs to be happening from your perspective?
I need to like people to get more educated.
Okay, good. So more access to education.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So we have just a couple minutes. In fact, I think that was a 2-minute warning. Does any panelist have anything that they'd like to share that
Yes,
we haven't covered?
My name is Matthew Williams. I'm from
Hi, Matthew.
Valley. Well, the message I read is about every year in the conference, we do every single year. For people with Down syndrome, we go many conferences, but not this year or last year, but we stay home orders. And some people used to call me a name like music boy when I was in training independent living program and see me that this discrimination, I don't like it as much.
Well, that's a really good point. Part of this whole conference, Matthew, is to make sure people understand that inclusion, diversity, equity, those words all mean fairness and social justice. And we want everybody to feel like they belong, right?
Yeah,
No matter
and
yeah,
also I'm a member of the Action Club of Simisu program.
That's part of the Kiwanis Club, is that correct?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So very good. I'm so happy you joined us. Nice to meet you. I don't think we've met before.
Well, same here in general too.
All right. So Eric, in our last moments, do you have anything you want to share about the Action Club, how we can support? Obviously, we're going to continue to support ARC, but what can we do to get more involved in supporting you as an outreach person?
Well, I feel like I said it, please join our social media and look on the website of the ARC of Ventura County, the ARC of California, the ARC of the United States. Those are the places where you can get involved. There are action items every week as far as notifying legislators or issues that are up, and then donations to our thrift stores really do make a huge difference for the people that we support. So and other than that, I just think that everyone did a great job, and I'm proud to be a part of this group.
I'm proud to have witnessed it. Absolutely agree. For those that are attending today, please fill out the survey that's in the chat from Gigi, Maria. What we want to make sure we're doing is getting feedback. So we're going to continue to evolve this culture festival, and you guys are definitely a long-standing part of that. So we're going to wrap in just a few seconds, guys, but I want to thank you. I'm very proud to have been part of this. We're going to continue to support as partners in our community. And thank you again. I want to give a shout out to the interpreters and Lee, our transcriber, making this accessible to everybody. This will be on our YouTube, and this will also has been streamed. So if your staff and your supporters and your family didn't catch it live, feel free to share that. So Peter's going to probably pull the plug on us any second now. We're at 9:51. We're going to get to our 10 o'clock show. Feel free to catch other events throughout the day. Sade Champagne is coming up at 10 o'clock. We're going to also have a whole host of other wonderful events. You're just going to go to the Diversity and Culture Festival schedule at the Ventura College website. Really easy to navigate. You do have to pre-register as a webinar participant, but it just takes a few seconds. Thanks again, ARC. Love partnering with you. Longtime fans. Give yourselves a hand, everybody.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
And Steve, I also want to thank Gina and Judith for helping us put this together.
Absolutely, Gina and Judith. And I know Sandra is around too. Lots of ARC staff behind the scenes. It takes a village for sure. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank
Guys.
you.